Well, hiya, BookTube. Bill Rutenberg here with the Rutenberg Library. Wanted to come to you today with a video from the upper room. This is my new area for my whole collection in my new house that we'd moved last August at the very beginning of our school year, and my wife and I moved into her old childhood home, and it's a pretty good size house. And I've been able to put my library in 3 different levels of the house. And here we are in the upper level. This is the new upper room. And over the coming days, or coming months rather, I hope to do a bookshelf tour going through these various shelves. And up here in the attic, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bookshelves up here completely loaded down with books. I got a 9th one over there that I haven't put books on yet, but it's coming soon to a theater near you. But anyway, what I really wanted to do in this video was I wanted to do my announcement video for my opening day project. Now, I started this project last year with starting in the month of March with opening day of the Major League Baseball season. Every month I want to read a baseball biography of an individual, a biography of a team, the history of an era or history of an event. I've got all kinds of sporting books in my collection, and over the last couple years I've got like a whole bookshelf full here. And last year when I did my opening day project, that was my first year for it, I did read one baseball book from March all the way through October. Now, there was one month where I didn't get one in, but in the previous month I got 2 in. So it kind of, the law of averages won out there. But anyway, I wanted to go over, first of all, what I got read last year, just kind of as a recap from last year so that you know what I've been reading. So my first book that I was able to complete, well, in the book or in the month of March. Matter of fact, I read this from March 29th, which was I believe the first day, or maybe it was the second day of the baseball season. I have to double check that. But from March 29th through April 2nd. So I read this in a matter of just a handful of days. It was The Closer, My Story, Mariano Rivera. Excellent, excellent biography. If you get a chance to pick this book up, it reads real quick. It is a wonderful, wonderful story of the New York Yankees closer, Mariano Rivera, and his life story. It's a wonderful story. That was the first one that I read. And then from April 14th through May 6th, so this would be my April book, I read Baseball in Blue and Gray, the national pastime during the Civil War. And this worked out perfect because I was, of course, beginning to cover the Civil War with my students at school. And so this all kind of, I've explained on the channel before where I like to read books in the time period that I'm talking about it in my history class. And so this played out really, really well. It was an interesting book. It's by George B. Kirsch. It's one of those, it was not, it's probably not one I would recommend. It wasn't the most entertaining read, but I did find it interesting. It was good for a baseball fan, a Civil War fan, like me. So the third book that I anyway, the third one I read was The Dixon Corn Belt League and Other Major League Stories. And this is by W.P. Kinsella. I read this from May 10th through May 12th. Real short book. This is the same author that, if you're familiar with the movie Field of Dreams, this was the author of that. I think Shoeless Joe was the name of the book that he wrote. Yeah, right there, Shoeless Joe. And this is just a bunch of fictional stories that have baseball kind of just in the background. Not what I thought it was going to be, but still, I'm glad I read it. The next book that I read was this big coffee table book, The Sporting News Selects Baseball's 100 Greatest Players of All Time. This is the second edition. It's got a foreword by Roger Clemens, and there we are with Frank Robinson and Roberto Clemente on the back. But this was a good book. It's got just like a couple, 3 pages about each of the different players, and it goes one through 100. And of course, it had my favorite player, Nolan Ryan, in it. But it's got a lot of really good baseball stars in it. I'd recommend that. Let's see. All right, so the next one that I read, and I read that one from May 23rd through June 12th. And then from June 14th through June 24th was The Sons of Baseball, Growing Up with a Major League Dad. And I don't have that book up here. I think I left it. There's a couple of them I left downstairs. This was one of them. But this just goes through the story of different kids where their dads were playing in the majors and how that affected their lives and what that was like growing up in the locker room, getting to meet all of those people. I know one of them was John Watson, who was a Kansas City Royal. He was a coach and a catcher for the Kansas City Royals. His son was in there, and I mean there were several of them. I'm not going to try to name all of them, but that was a good story, or a good book on the story of the children of Major League ball players. My next book that I read was The Long Ball, The Summer of '75, Spaceman, Catfish, Charlie Hustle, and the Greatest World Series Ever Played. And this is by Tom Adelman. Love this book. This was really good. It was a history of the summer of '75 and the playoff races, and it also looked at stuff like when the players were going through arbitration, trying to find the best deal, which they had just opened that up to the players union, where the players could actually get control of their own destinies with their careers. And so anyway, a lot of really good stuff in this book. Highly recommend that one. Let's see here. What was my next one? I had it was just a little book. It was like from, when you order books from Scholastic, it was one of those type of books, a little paperback, and it was Baseball's Unforgettables by Mac Davis. It's only 156 pages long. It was pretty short, from July 30th through September 16th. And it basically was just a whole bunch of little tiny stories, half page to 2 pages long each, of just different things that have happened in baseball. The next one was another one of those type of books that you would buy from your school Scholastic page, The World Series, The Great Contest. And I read this from September 16th through September 30th, thinking about with the World Series on the way. And so when I read that, it had a whole bunch of stories of, 9 or 10 different World Series teams that went through and the seasons they went through, and was basically like a journalist's report of the World Series. And so I know I finished that one on September 30th, but that one counted as my October book. I was a little bit ahead of the game. I know I got busy at that time. I wanted to read one more, but I got busy with football was going on at the time, and just didn't have time to get another one read. So anyway, this is my opening day project. It is a way to get me to read the books that are on my shelves, all of these baseball books, and I've got a lot of really good ones on here. And so for this year, this is my big announcement for this year. I am going to start off with, for this opening day for 2024 baseball season, I am going to be reading Crazy 1908 or Crazy '08 by Kate Murphy. How a cast of cranks, rogues, boneheads, and magnets created the greatest year in baseball history. And so I had this sent to me by subscriber Todd. He had sent me this book, and I was very happy to receive this. And thank you, Todd, for this. And Todd sent me a couple of. He sent me a handful of baseball books, and I'm hoping that I can get started and get going this year, at least get some of them read this year. So thank you again, Todd. This is going to be my opening day book. So real excited about that. Do any of you out there read a lot of baseball memoirs or biographies, autobiographies, or do you read those, team histories? Do you have collections of those at home? I have a whole bookshelf full of them, and I'm happy to start going through them. But anyway, BookTube, let me know if you're reading any of them for opening day of the Major League Baseball season. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day. And as always, happy reading.